Extending our discussion in terms of essentials, Sharia principles governing the Islamic capital markets, we are going to discuss the Sharia governance structure and the mechanism, and we will see comparative Islamic capital markets policies and procedures. First of all, what is the concept of governance? Of course, if you see the conventional banks, which is interest-based in their prime objectives, they are so sophisticatedly managed. They have a corporate governance structure. They have Sarbanes-Oxley in United States. They have internal auditor, external auditors. They have a system of internal controls. They have effective and efficiency concept, and they want to add value in the process, and a lot of things they do. They make committees for risk, for audit, for IT, for remuneration, and they hire management who run the show. They are management hire C-level staff. This is how in general the conventional governance systems goes. Same way when we develop IFIs, Islamic financial institution, they require a strong corporate governance, which will make sure that the invested money is in the safe hands. Our procedures are quality oriented, and things are properly administered as they demand. So in terms of Sharia corporate governance, the first step is to make Sharia advisory or supervisory board. This board will be formed even before the incorporation of IFI as basic requirements. They will be the skillful people, not only in Islamic ways but other like IT, compliance, risk and other ways, so they can add value in the day-to-day process. They will guide the mechanism, policies, procedures, and they will try to uplift the structure of the overall organization in terms of effective corporate governance. Same way, when we follow the corporate governance, it's very important to use the auditing in Sharia and accounting standards. We have a very famous body that is called AUFI. This AUFI has 4 standards on governance, that is Sharia. So that first standard is related to Sharia supervisory board, how to appoint, how to terminate, what is the composition, at least how many people required in this committee, and whom they are going to report, what report will bring value for the stakeholders. Sharia reviews, internal Sharia reviews, and audit and governance of the committees. In terms of Sharia supervisory board, shortly we called as SSBs, is and cover the appointment, remuneration, composition and selection of the board. And same like in terms of company law, corporate, how to hire a director, how to terminate, quorum, other things should be defined in these own procedures. Standard 2 and 3, that is review, and the internal Sharia reviews should be conducted in order to bring value in the process. Role of audit and governance committee is really important. They are going to preserve the integrity of the financial reporting process. They will serve as a safeguard for the interest of the shareholders, investors and other stakeholders. They will be providing additional assurance on the reliability of the financial information presented to the board of directors, and they will act as an independent link between IFI's management and its stakeholders. More in corporate governance, we have Islamic Financial Services Board. This also will provide guiding principles on corporate governance for review, compliance, post-review, post-compliance. This in Malaysia, in Bahrain, these all things are value added. Let's discuss the Islamic mutual funds, the Sharia compliances in terms of governance of a mutual fund, disposal of non-approved share, that is like if they have any Sharia compliant share in their portfolio that has fallen off the approved list. This is likely to be spotted by a mutual fund Sharia compliance officer who is an integral part of Sharia governance mechanisms. So previously anything was just falling under the Islamic Sharia compliance. After a certain time, because of certain change in other things, becomes non-compliant, then this has to be brought in the notice of the stockholders, and they should have a compliance procedure for such situations. Dealing with tainted income, a further application occurs when income mutual funds receive dividend from the university companies that has tainted income. This is maybe they are guaranteed from interest income or other non-halal activities, so they should be caught in terms of compliances. Let's talk about Islamic equities. Equity will be traded in the equity market. So in terms of compliance, we should have procedures that the activities we are investing in, they are in compliance with the Sharia laws. Same way, total outstanding debts is normally a cheaper form of finance. If you see the conventional banking, equity financing is expensive because it is not subject to some tax benefits, but once you go for and it has floating cost as well. But if you see the equity financing, this is comparatively easy. In terms of liquidity, cash and interest-bearing securities, these are the most liquid assets, and they are necessary to remain in to meet your short-term obligations. And liquidity comes with a price. It generates little or no returns because it's for a short period of time. So we have to see what are the Sharia compliances in terms of cash, in terms of receivables, in terms of those companies who operate in non-core prohibited activities. These should be all the part of our corporate governance. In terms of Islamic fixed income instruments such as private debt security, which is quite popular now in Malaysia, guidelines generally for this category is the contract can be utilized to structure Islamic bonds for peculiarities of each contract. This is case to case, we can see. Same in Sukuk we can do. The compliances will be more relevant in terms of sale of commodity in organized market, that is standard number 20, and we have 21 standard, that is financial papers, which is related to shares and the bonds. In terms of Islamic rights, that is the real estate investment trust, where we will create an asset and later we will sell it. So according to the Sharia, rental earns from the real estate generally derive from the permissible businesses activities, and notwithstanding the 20% benchmark, the IREIT cannot own real estates where the tenants operate non-permissible activities. In case of new tenants, IREIT may not accept new tenants whose activities are fully non-permissible. For those tenants who operate mixed activities, 20% allowance would be calculated based on the ratio of the area occupied. All form of investment, deposit and financing instruments must comply with the Sharia principles, and all insurance should be based on the Takaful concepts.